A big congratulations to all Nigerians because our presidents, the only one and only, the best of all, have come to address the people. And he also says that he is going to make a Nigeria a better place for you and for me. But there is a problem. As far as the Nigerians, they are used to promise, unfulfilled vow. In Nigeria is a country where vow is no longer new to us, and people no longer believe in politicians. They have gone to the stage where people lost trust in them. So that is the reason why the people, despite his promising heaven ahead, they are saying no. It is now or never. So watch out.
Nigerians, adding that his reforms would work.
This period may be hard on us, and there is no doubt that it's tough on us. But I urge you all to look beyond the present temporary pains and aim at the larger picture. All our good and helpful plans are in the works. More importantly, I know that they will work. Sadly, there was an unavoidable lag between subsidy removal and these plans coming fully online. However, we are swiftly closing the time gap. I plead with you, please have faith in our ability to deliver and in our concern for your well-being. We shall fulfill our promise to make education more affordable to all and provide loans to higher education students who may need them. No Nigerian student will have to abandon higher education because of lack of money. Our commitment is to promote the greatest good for the greatest number of our people. On principle, we shall never fall. I assure you, my fellow countrymen and women, that we are exiting the darkness to enter a new and glorious dawn.
All right, you guys, you know that this video was first posted on the X account of Otega Ogra, who is a senior special assistant to the president on new media, with the caption, "A passionate plea from President Bola Tinubu." Otega had posted that tweet and, passing it off as if it was a new broadcast. And then minutes later, it was then posted on the official Twitter handle of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu with this caption: "As we navigate through these temporary pains, please remember that every effort is being made to ensure a stable and prosperous future for all Nigerians. Our collective strength and unity will pave the way for a brighter tomorrow. We are in this together and we will overcome." But trust by Ononuga to respond. I mean, like we've talked about on this table, there's no synergy between these media aides of the president. Bayo Ononuga actually went on to post the video, and he tweeted, he wrote, "Trending video of President Tinubu is an old video. A trending video of the president, which came out on Wednesday, is not a new video. It is a clip from the broadcast he made last year. President Tinubu has not made any other public statement since his last broadcast on Sunday," which is absolutely true, because this video was a video that came out when he was addressing the fuel subsidy, when he took out the fuel subsidy back in July, actually on July 31st to be precise. So Ortega, or whoever it is, took out a clip from that broadcast and posted it on the president's Twitter handle, passing it off as a new broadcast. I mean, of course, Bayo Ononuga will come under fire because Nigerians will not understand why Ortega had posted the video, and then he's coming out to say it's not a new video. But this is the conversation that a lot of us have had. They are disgracing Nigeria. They are disgracing the president. There is no point for this to happen. Before I come to you, though, in another development, the chairman and editor-in-chief of the This Day Arise Media Group, Prince Nduka Obaigbena, on Thursday hosted a government communication delegation led by the Minister of Information, Mohammed Idris, to a media parley at the Arise corporate office in Lagos. Obaigbena, while addressing the delegation, sought for better communication from the Tinubu government, saying that their actions have failed to communicate that the country is in dire straits. Speaking on economic hardship, Obaibena said that he is very concerned about the poverty in the north.
We have very poor people. We are supposed to have a social register. I don't know what has happened to it. If all this student loan, they are okay. But the key issue is, how are we taking care of the poorest of the poor? Put them on social register. Give them stipends against what is happening. As a Nigerian, I'm very concerned about the poverty in the north. You can see the riots and the rioters. No education. And yet the north has governed this country more than anybody else. So there is no nexus between political power holding and helping your people. So we also have to focus on the north. Like Awolowo said, illiteracy, hunger, and co are the biggest things that come. You have to face them squarely, ruthlessly. So if we want social cohesion, we have to do something about poverty in the north.
All right, I thought it was important to highlight this particular aspect of the chairman's speech. As you know, we talked about the Kaduna State governor who had, had an interview last week on Newsnight, where he talked about the fact that 70% of northerners are living below poverty line. Yeah. And out of the 18.3 million Nigerian children that are out of school, 70% of them are in the northern states and 60% are unbanked. It is important that the chairman has come out to, also highlight the plight of the people in the north, because we saw the riots, like he mentioned. Yeah. They were huge in the north. We saw these children holding the Russian flag, basically because of lack of education.
Absolutely.
Your take.
Absolutely. Let me start from this and just say that was a good visit yesterday. It gave Arise as an opportunity to speak to the communications team of the presidency, led by the Minister of Information and National Orientation, Mr. Mohammed Idris. That point is a point we've made. And Oji, I know in recent times you have been advocating for support to the North.
Absolutely.
In terms of especially in light of what played out during the protests. Say what you may, the truth is that that was a signal. They were speaking. Even if you don't hear what they were speaking, their body language and the way they handled the protest demonstrated that they were speaking, that things are happening that we need to face. If not, we're going to have a situation on our hands that we possibly cannot contain, that would blow out of order. So the easy, quick wins. That's why when people talk about the Kano situation and the IT facility that was looted, that was the IT facility that these people needed in the first instance. It's very good. I'm not saying it's not good. But the first thing is that hungry people cannot learn. They can't go to school to learn anything. You can't raise entrepreneur among people that don't have food to eat. Where is the motivation to even learn? And then I thought Prophet Isa Ewuwabi made a very good point that those guys that you see holding the Russian flags, you see a number of them on their faces. I don't even know if they knew the import of what they were doing. All they know is that they've been told, or they see that things are working in areas where the Russians, interfered and there are coups there. And so that the same thing happened for them, which is absolutely and totally wrong. And so part of the communication is to engage with these people, but more importantly, feed them, provide infrastructure, as you're doing, alongside the other parts of the South. Now, going back to the first story, and Mr. Bayo Ononuga and Mr. Ogra, the truth is that the video is an old video, and perhaps what Mr. Ogra was trying to do was to try and clean up the conversations or the criticisms of the president's speech on the fourth day of the protest. Okay, that he still said, and I thought that was a better speech than the first one, really emphasizing and saying, give us time, we'll be patient. He failed to say, though, that it was an old video. To be honest, we would have dug it out and seen that, this is an old video. So maybe Mr. Ononuga went ahead.
What Bayo Ononuga was trying to
yes. But in the way he did it seemed as if he was, he was criticizing us. He should have just said, I see it's just very brash. So there should be a softer way. A communication expert should know how to communicate effectively. Effective communication is saying something and the receiver hearing what it is that you intended to pass. If that doesn't work, then it has failed. So it just shows that.
But by the way, Bayo Ononuga has deleted this tweet, which I don't know why. Why did he have to delete the tweet? I mean, it just
saying the truth.
But because it then appears like he is buttressing their point because the video is still there on the president's page.
Yeah.
I believe it's still there on Ortega's page at the moment. And it appears like some sort of propaganda. It is not the truth. This video was taken on July 31st. But also in that video, the president was talking about, student loans, and he made promises about how he's going to help, Nigerians, especially with education. In the same vein, a video of Ibrahim Zana Sunoma, a child rights activist from Borno State advocating for better education for Nigerian children, especially children facing insurgency in the north, has made the rounds on social media. Let's take a look.
If we see every child as our own child, then we won't be here today. Because no parent, no leader, no government will want to see his child in a condition which no horror movie can explain. Education is the only tool that the child of a peasant farmer can become the most celebrated icon of tomorrow. And the challenges are very severe. Our schools are destroyed, our teachers killed, our parents murdered, our schools burned down, we are being kidnapped, and even just looking at the physical destruction itself, it's more than that. It's psychological, and it's something that will make you think that the future does not exist for you, because education is the future.
I must congratulate this young man. He's from Borno State, from Bama especially. I mean, he gave this interview back in March. But you could hear him, my heart broke when he talked about the fact that, we do want education. Even if we had to sit on the floor, we will sit on the floor and learn. But you know what? The infrastructure and insecurity will not even allow us learn. Vimbai.
That was so beautiful to watch, and he's eloquent, he's well-spoken, he drove his point home in a beautiful way. Now, one thing that this season of protests has done is it has highlighted a lot of content creators from the north. There's a gentleman called Dan Bello, who I know is trending now, Bello Galandachi, who does his videos on TikTok. I know he looks more into politics and political situations in his own way. However, it's packed with data, packed with information. Now, what does this tell you? This tells you that there are some educated amongst them. What does it mean? There's so much potential. What do we need to do? We need to do a census and get the data so that we can understand who is where and what situation are they in. Because we continue to hurl out these figures, and then we see the young men, some people are saying they're from Niger. We don't, there aren't exact facts about who they are and where they came from. So I think it's important for us to have a census so that we can understand the true data, statistics of the situation in the north, number one. And then number two, we always have to remember that where there is a lack of education, indoctrination is what replaces it. So when we say they're not educated, it doesn't mean that they don't have the capacity to be indoctrinated into something, which is what we need to be very, very careful of. Because if you see people carrying Russian flags, you see people joining extremism, that's indoctrination. The brain doesn't exist in a vacuum. The brain must be filled with something. So it's now up to us to fill their great brains with positivity and nation building so that they can be great contributors.
I mean, you made a valid point, which is really just the deficit that we are facing with nation building. Really, he's highlighted insecurity.